Hi, it's me, Lauren. This is my English project. Doing a bit of cooking because people don't have enough time to cook, and most people don't know how to cook really easy meals. This meal it's relatively easy, but it does take a lot of time because um, you you wouldn't expect to have to defrost the meat in quotations, but defrosting the meat is prepping your tofu. So even though we already bought extra firm tofu, you have to press your tofu because I didn't exactly show it in the video, but you have to pour out quite a bit of water from the packaging. So I already poured it out at this point, but you need to cut it into fourths so that the slabs are pretty thin, and then you press them. So you'll see in the next scene. I take a ton of paper towel. Here it comes. Oh, just a cute little beauty shot of the tofu. It smells great. It tastes great. Take as much paper towel as you can find, usually just about 4 sheets on each side, and you place it on a cutting board. You put another cutting board on the top, and you need to put quite a bit of weight on it. So this is my flour container, and then also my sugar container, and that'll just press out the tofu. It takes about 20 minutes, so during this time I usually start the rice and start on the sauce. So that's a fourth a cup of water, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. It's all tablespoons, so you can just use the same spoon as long as you do everything right. I think it's 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, but no, just 1. Mix that together because this part can get a little bit tricky if it sets and all that. I think it's 4 tablespoons of soy sauce. Oh god, I hope it was 4. I wasn't exactly counting. It's fine, you probably were watching. And then 1 tablespoon of hoisin. Very yummy. Mix that all together, and you can just set that aside because this will only come in during the last couple of steps. Ooh, little beauty shot. I'm just telling you to start your pan because during this point, while the tofu is all getting dried, you need to wash your rice and then start your rice because if you want rice with your tofu, you need to make it. So, of course, I didn't go as in-depth to make rice because rice is pretty universal. Most people know how to make rice. But it's 1.5 cups of water for every 1 cup of rice, and then the cooking instructions should be on the rice packaging. But you can see, cute little boiling. Just remember to stir it because it does get pretty gross if it all sticks to the bottom. But usually that isn't too much of a problem. So you should be fine. Oh, the tofu's done. So once you're all done with the pressing, this, again, 20 minutes, slap the tofu, see if it's dry enough. The drier the better, but you really can't get all the moisture out of it. Oh, here's me slapping my sister. And again, I keep forgetting that cutting it in half and then cut those halves in half. Here you can tell I have no sense of knife safety, but the point I'm trying to get across is if you have big honkers, big pieces of tofu, you should cut them in half again so that they're all roughly the same size, so that they'll all be the same amount of cooked and crispiness when you get to the frying stage, which is coming up right now. Once we learn that the tofu is bouncy, but just regular old vegetable oil, you should have a bit just on medium heat in a big old pan. Depending on the size of your tofu slab, you can use more or less cornstarch, but we use roughly 4 tablespoons depending, and you just want to cover them all. They don't have to be completely covered, but this will just give them some nice crispiness. And cat chopsticks, here it's going to go to a non-voiceover because No, we're doing a tester piece. You can't hear it because it's a voiceover, but there is the sizzle. We want the sizzle. Hopefully if you're making this too, you also have the sizzle. I actually put in way too much tofu here because the tricky part about making it is you have to have the flattest part of it on the bottom. And you cook that for around 3 minutes and it'll just crispen it up, and after 3 minutes you flip them over. You just need the 2 biggest sides to be crisped up. You don't have to do all 6 sides, but just the biggest 2 is the most important, and since they should be pretty flat rectangles, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. This is really the most tedious part that takes the longest. Your feet will get sore, you get very tired, and you'll just want to eat it raw, but you know, it's best if you wait. While you're waiting for the 3 minutes, you can also do what I'm doing and adding some vegetables. I'd recommend broccoli, not broccoli, it would taste terrible in this dish, but bell pepper. Bell pepper is amazing. I prefer green bell pepper, but we only really had red bell pepper on hand, and I like to do it in 2 runs, so here you can see I'm pouring out the first one, and while the next one's cooking, I am crushing up my garlic, because we use freshly ground garlic because we're pretentious. So if you have one of these things, you can pick them up at the dollar store. They're really weird, hard to clean, but you know what? They get the job done. You can see I'm going off screen to go do the tofu again. And depending on your spice level, we can't handle too spicy because we find leftovers are always spicier than the original dish when you make it. So we only add half a teaspoon. Oh, it's going fast. Look at that tofu. It looks pretty good. It looks kind of weird, but kind of good. You know what I mean? So once that's all done, this is my mom's words exactly, Asian cooking gets really fast in the end. So you want to add your garlic and your chili flakes into the pan. We pour out a little bit of the oil, but not all of it. 30 seconds later, you add in your delicious bell peppers. And right after that, you will add in your tofu. Just slide it underneath and flip it over top. That's a good method to get it all mixed in. And then comes the sauce. You want to leave that for a bit because the sauce will thicken up, and then you're all done. Look at that. To the top, you could definitely add like chives, or we put on sesame seeds just because it gives a little nice texture. Just, put your rice in there, and it's a pretty good, easy meal for lunch. And then they make really good leftovers too. So I hope you try it. If you do, let me know. Give me an A. No meat party. Very yummy. Sauce. Sauce party. Very yummy.